Hey folks, it's King from Stay Tuned Sports, and I gotta tell you, I love energy drinks. They help give me that boost that I need to finish all my work, get through game film recaps from all of Sunday's games, and they provide that pick-me-up during a very long week. What I don't love is that crash and the jitters, the gross feeling you get with most other energy drinks. And that's why I tried Dubby, and I gotta tell you, Dubby is a game changer with flavors like Dragonade, Beach and Peach, Galaxy Grenade, and my personal favorite, the Dub Sludge. You can find your favorite or just get them all. There's no jitters, there's no crash because there's no sugar in Dubby. Plus, Dubby contains Neurofactor, an all-natural ingredient derived from coffee cherries, which has been linked to enhance brain function. You go on over to dubby.gg right now. That's dubby.gg to grab the best energy drink you've ever had. And if you enter the code STSports18 in all caps, you'll get 10% off your order. That's STSports18 to get 10% off of Dubby. Be better.
And hello there, all you stay tuners. Hey, listen, it might be Eagles. I hate the Eagles. Don't get me wrong here. First quarter, keep it even. Second quarter, start running the fucking ball. Third quarter, take a power nap. Fourth quarter, oh shit, there's the rest of the game. Let's go. Fuck it, I'm a diabetic. I will root for the team that will literally give me diabetes and death. Rooting for a team from Hershey is like a Catholic rooting for Satan. It doesn't make any sense.
This is Stay Tuned Sports, and it starts in 3, 2, 1.
And hello there, all you Stay Tuners. Welcome back to another episode of Stay Tuned Sports. It's your good friend Jimbo here. Flying solo today, this week. I think King is still a little upset over the Dallas Giants game, Thanksgiving. I mean, that was a good game up until the second half. That's when Dallas seemed to turn it on them. Lots to talk about today, though, still. We got the college conference championship weekend coming up this weekend with playoff implications, possibly. The NCAA College Playoff Committee released their rankings, so we're going to talk a little bit about them. A little bit of NFL talk and some iRacing news. I know it's been a few weeks since we talked a little bit of iRacing, but we're going to, give you a couple minutes of talk and some news and updates about the NSRA Stay Tuned Sports podcast truck series and when is it coming back. So let's just jump right into it. So yeah, let's talk a little college football here. Playoff committee released their rankings, and if just in case you haven't seen or heard, Georgia's number 1, Michigan number 2 after their pretty big defeat to Ohio State. TCU is number 3. USC is number 4 after thromping Notre Dame. We'll talk a little bit about Notre Dame too, since that was their last game of the season. They'll have a bowl game probably, but other than that, they're pretty much done. Ohio State dropped to number 5. They dropped down 3 spots, and then Alabama moved up to the 6th spot because I don't know why. I see Tennessee moved up 3 spots, but I don't know if they should be there with the past couple weeks. A lot of letdown games. The 2 letdown games they had this season. But looking at the top 6 here, obviously this year and next year, only 4 teams will make the playoffs. As of this recording, there's no confirmation yet. I know the bowl committee or the playoff committee was still in talks with the Rose Bowl about them trying to be one of the 6 major playoff games. I saw that yesterday on ESPN that they're still talking about coming to an agreement with that. But as far as these 6 teams here, Georgia the past few years has been, 1, 2, or 3. Alabama has been in the top 4. Michigan, I believe, last year was real close, and then they had a letdown game at the wrong time and did not make the playoffs. USC finally looks like they're back to how they were, 5-10 years ago. Very competitive team. And, watching that Notre Dame game, I lasted probably a little bit past halftime. They were just all over our offense. We only really had one good drive, which was like a 5-minute drive. Offensively, the quarterback they have there reminds me of Jalen Hurts so much. I mean, can make plays with the legs, buy some time with his legs. And, I mean, just watching that game, that's what really did kill Notre Dame and could not get the upset there. Out of these 6 teams, I was just looking at the games coming up this weekend. I could see possibly Ohio State and Alabama sneaking into the playoffs. I mean, if you look at this week's schedule for these teams, USC is playing Utah, which you would think USC should win it, and that game is Friday night at 8 p.m. But something tells me, like a gut feeling says, this could be the upset of the conference titles weekend. Even though I just said that, they pretty much control the whole game against Notre Dame. Are they looking past Utah? They're sitting at the 4 spot, which is not a good spot to be in if you're looking past the team that you're playing right now. One loss and you're done. You're not making the playoffs. Then if you look at TCU, they're playing Kansas State University. Again, you would think they should win because Kansas State is 10th in the rankings here. But everybody for the past few weeks seems like they're waiting for that other shoe to drop with TCU. They're 12-0. Past couple weeks, do they deserve to be in there? And this is what I've been saying for the past couple years with the playoff, these playoff teams. The playoff committee wants to see the big names in there: Georgia, Michigan, Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State. Like, they want to see all those teams in there. And I don't think TCU is as big as them yet. If they could get into the playoffs and make it to the finals, or even winning the conference or winning the national title, maybe they'll start getting some respect on their name. But if this game is close and TCU barely beats Kansas State, and if USC barely beats Utah, there may be an argument to put Ohio State up in one of those spots because, they were 11-0 going into last weekend against Michigan. And even though they lost by, 10, 15 points, you look at their schedule, you look at everything else, I think the name alone would push them into that 4th spot. And maybe USC moves up and TCU drops out. Now, we didn't talk about Georgia and Michigan here yet. I think Georgia should be able to... Georgia should. I shouldn't say I think. Georgia should be able to handle LSU. LSU gave Alabama a loss. But Alabama isn't the powerhouse that they used to be. Georgia is the Alabama from 5-10 years ago, when all they did is win, and dominantly. So I think Georgia's going to win. I think Georgia's going to hold on to that number 1 spot. Then you look at Michigan against Purdue, and the way Michigan handled Ohio State, this should be an easy game for them. But again, this could be one of those that they're overlooking them and could slip up. I don't think so. But if they slip up and they miss the playoffs, because again, Purdue's not even ranked, and if Michigan loses to an unranked team in the conference title game, then you gotta think that these other, 3-4 teams would move above them. So this weekend's games are going to be real interesting to watch. I think the Georgia LSU game I'm going to try to watch, just because, fuck Brian Kelly. I want to see him get trounced on by Georgia. But the TCU Kansas State University game, Saturday at 12, and then, like I said, the Utah USC, supposed to be going out Friday night, so might catch the tail end of that one. But those three games are the ones I'm going to try to watch and see if they could pull out the wins and pretty much keep this order intact. Because if all four teams win, I don't see any movement. Maybe depending on how the TCU and the USC game goes as far as win-wise. Was a close game, was a blowout. They're the only two teams I could see really flip-flopping spots. But should be an interesting weekend, though. Definitely want to tune in and watch. So another crazy weekend in the NFL, starting with the Thanksgiving game. That Detroit Lions game set the bar so high for the weekend, or for the other two Thursday games and for the weekend. I did not see that Detroit Lions game going the way it went. I thought for sure they may be able to stay close the first 5 minutes of the game, maybe 10 minutes of the game. But to see it go down how it went down all the way to the end, and for the Bills to pull off the field goal at the end there, just a very good game. And you know what, like, for how bad the refs have been all year, I don't really think there was any bad calls, if maybe one, but you're gonna have that. You're always gonna have one, maybe two bad calls. The key is just not making it that bad to be remembered. But this, that game alone, even though Detroit's been hot lately, did the Bills hit the peak for the season a couple of weeks ago? Like, that's the question that, I kind of ask myself now, is if Detroit was able to hang in there with the powerhouse of Buffalo Bills, who on most power rankings have that team 3 or 4, are they starting to tail off at the wrong time? I know everybody's going to be saying, oh, well, it's Josh Allen, they're not going to tail off. Even the greats out there. I mean, look at Tom Brady. This past season, he's not doing the greatest compared to the past couple seasons. And then after that game, you have the Giants-Cowboys game, which the Giants were making a game of it. And the first half of it, I should say, they were making a game of it. And it was feeling like one of those games that they're going to have to keep close and pull it off in the end. But second half, Dallas kind of turned it on. And they, even though they won by 8, I think there was like 3 minutes left when they were actually up by 13 or 14. And that's another question, and another reason why I don't think the Cowboys are as good as some of these power rankings. I mean, yes, it was an NFC East opponent, and they always play each other tough. All those teams in the NFC East, I should say, play each other tough. But if you are going to be considered a Super Bowl contender, you have to be able to beat a Giants team that had all practice squad players at wide receiver, basically. Injuries up and down the offensive line. You know, they should have won this game by 10, 15 points. Especially with how the Cowboys' running game was going. Now, I'll admit I didn't watch the Vikings-Patriots game because I was just kind of fed up with how the Cowboys game went. I was hoping the Cowboys lost, just because I always want to see the Cowboys lose. So I really don't have too much of an opinion about the Vikings-Patriots game. Vikings seem like they're still doing what they've been doing all season, so they're a top team to still watch. You know, the rest of the season, see where they fall. Obviously, as an Eagles fan, I was hoping the Patriots won so we could take a 2-game lead on them for the number 1 seed, even though it's kind of like in parentheses that we have a 3-game lead because we own the tiebreaker over Minnesota. But getting into my Eagles game here with Green Bay Sunday night, you know, we signed Sue and we signed Joseph to hopefully shore up that that inner defensive line and slow up the running game and everything. But to me, it didn't seem like it fixed it. And the only thing that really saved this team in this game was Jalen Hurts. I mean, he played outstanding. And this game, and kudos to Green Bay too, because the way Jalen Hurts was playing that first quarter, first 5-10 minutes of that quarter, I thought for sure I'd be going to bed at halftime because it was going to be a blowout. He had 100 plus yards rushing by the end of the first quarter. There was like 20, 30 yard rushes he was doing. But Aaron Rodgers stuck it out there and got the team back in there and kind of settled each other's out. I just wish that we would stick with the running game a little bit more. That game showed there, you minus Jalen Hurts' rushing yards, our running back still had almost 200 yards rushing. And you got a player, Miles Sanders, who's averaging 5 yards a touch. Why is he not getting more involved in this offense when the wide receivers and tight ends are having a hard time getting open to get in some space? You gotta get Miles Sanders in that running back group a little bit more touches to help open up the downfield stuff too, help with the play action stuff. Now, do I feel a little bit better about Philly compared to the past 2 weeks? When they played the Colts and when they played the Commanders. A little bit. I mean, I know A.J. Brown was playing sick. There was questions about him even playing at all. Now we have some injuries on defense. Our safety, Garner, is out indefinitely with a kidney issue. He got hurt during the game there. One player's name that actually did pop up about possibly reuniting with Philly is Malcolm Jenkins. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be against them signing him. Obviously Gardner's going to be the starter whenever he comes back. But Malcolm loves Philly. Philly loves Malcolm. That defense, I think, even though Blankenship played well, I think that defense still needs some veteran leadership back there at the safety position. And then Jordan Davis was designated for return this week, which is going to be huge because we're going up against Tennessee and Derrick Henry. The key to that game, just like any other team that goes up against them, if you could contain Derrick Henry, you'll have a very good chance at winning the game. If they make Tannehill pass, with Darius Slay playing how well he's playing this year, a couple of the other cornerbacks who are playing a little bit better, compared to the past, I think that will help. But the offense, even though we put 40 points up, it wasn't like Green Bay's defense was stopping us left and right. Now, some of the fourth down stuff that we were going for, I think Nick Sirianni needs to reel in a little bit of the aggressiveness. If you only need a 1 yard, I don't know why they were trying to do a quarterback sneak to the outside. You're wasting all that time when all you gotta do is get 3 feet. If you cannot fall forward and get 3 feet, you should not be playing in the NFL. Now this week we have, who do we have? I forget who we're playing this week, but Tennessee. Yeah, just had a mind fart there. It should be a good game. I mean, we're finally going to see what type of team Philly is. The rest of their schedule, even though they're the 12th hardest schedule for the rest of the season, you got 2 games against the Giants. You have 1 more against the Commanders, 1 more against Dallas. So right there's a winning record with those 3 teams combined. And then Tennessee, I believe, has a winning record, but even if they're 500 or just slightly below 500, again, Derrick Henry is a beast. So they're still going up against good players. Hopefully we could stop them and pull out some wins. So before we get into our blue picks here, a little bit of announcement about iRacing. If any iRacers out there are interested in joining the league, NSRA, the league that we've sponsored their Friday Night Truck Series the past, 2-3 years now, will be kicking up the recruitment stage of their off season, starting this Friday. Practice is at 8 o'clock. Race is at roughly 9:10. I think I saw. I believe we're at Daytona this week. We set up like a 7 or 8 race recruitment schedule here, and we start up the season first week of February. So if you're interested, head over to the hosted races and look for us on Friday night and come join. Not sure if I'm going to be joining that that night. I'm going out looking at Christmas lights and stuff, do some family stuff, but hoping I can get home in time, so I'll be in the race there as long as I get home in time. But definitely a good bunch of guys, fun league. It is competitive, we do get competitive. Even if there's issues, if you thought I spun you out or I thought you spun me out, we may argue that day, but next day we're shaking hands and saying, hey, good race. So up next is our blue picks, which is sponsored by W Energy Drinks. W gives you focus and energy without the crash or jitters. It has no sugar, fillers, or artificial dyes. So make sure you guys head over to w.gg and use promo code STSports18, all capital letters, to get 10% off your purchase. They just announced today, I believe it was, they have new shakers out. I know they're coming out with 2 new flavors. I know one, hopefully by the end of the year, is blue raspberry, which I'm really interested for that one. But so far, the 2 I've tried were the Dragonade and the Peach and Beach, and it's well worth the money. The other thing I saw that they're also talking about doing is actually getting these produced in cans as well. So definitely a lot of stuff coming up with W here. But like I said, head over to their website there, w.gg, and use promo code STSports18 to receive 10% off your purchase. So to review last week with our blowout picks, me and Kings, the blowout pick for King, he took KC. They covered. They won by 16 over the Rams. That Rams team is just in shambles. I mean, poor Sean McVay got taken out by his own player, a helmet to the head there. I took San Fran. They won by 13 over New Orleans, which thank you, San Fran, because now we're up to the 4th or 6th draft pick spot for the first round draft pick that we have for you guys. Our lock picks, King took the Dolphins. They won by 15, as well as I did. I took the Dolphins over Houston. This week, we're going to see what kind of team Houston is, or was. Deshaun Watson's back this week, so does he help them at all? I mean, he hasn't played in a year and a half, so we'll have to see. The upset picks, King took Green Bay over Philly. They lost by 7. Real close call. Really thought he was going to pull it out. And then I took the Giants over Dallas. That first half, thought I was going to pull it out, but didn't. So for this week, week 13, I'm taking Seattle over the Rams for my blowout pick. Seattle's just playing consistent ball all year long, and Rams are consistently bad all year long. I think this one could be a 10-15 point difference with Seattle winning. My lock picks, I have the Vikings over the Jets. And you're probably like, how are you going to pick the Vikings over the Jets when Mike White played lights out last weekend? Well, here's the thing. If you guys remember last year, Mike White played 3 games last year. First game, he lit it up. Second and third game, he stunk it up. He was Zach Wilson those second and third games. And Vikings are playing just like Seattle, playing consistently-ish, I'll say. Other than prime time and that the other game from a week or two ago. I think it's going to be a closer game than maybe most people think, but I think the Vikings pull out the win over the Jets. And then for my upset pick, I'm going, now, hear me out, Colts over the Dallas Cowboys. Like I said earlier, I just don't think the Cowboys are as good as everybody else thinks they are. And if the Colts team that played Philly shows up, this could be an upset alert. So those are my picks. Colts over the Cowboys for my upset, Vikings over the Jets for my lock, and Seattle over Rams for my blowout pick. And that was sponsored by W Energy Drink. Make sure you guys head over to w.gg and use promo code STSports18, all capital letters, to receive 10% off of your purchase. I think that's going to be it for this week. I know, since King's been back, we've been doing a little bit longer shows than normal, but I'm pretty sure you don't want to hear me talk for that long. Make sure you guys head over to staytunesports.net so you can follow all of our social media accounts and any merchandise that you might want to purchase. Buymeacoffee.com/STSports to show your support for the show. We also have a Discord server if you want to join. That will be in the show notes. All you guys come over, talk sports during the week, even when we're not recording, even when football's on or baseball or whatever. So until next week, this is your good friend Jimbo signing out.